I can visualize like R&B singers who was rocking this back then, like Pablo. You of all people can't claim the band collar.
My culture is not your costume. That's what I'm trying to say here. Stop erasing me. Stop erasing me.
Nobody's erasing anybody. I think it's the other way around. You're trying to claim something from the 90s when you weren't cool in the 90s. And are you at peak cool right now? Is this the coolest you've ever been?
I mean, I feel like the coolest of the 90s that I felt was when I would do this. Tyrannosaurus.
Wow, that's unfortunate. That's Pablo Torre. I'm Domonique Foxworth. That's Mike Golic, a.k.a. Gojo. So, all right, when were you the coolest, Gojo, in your life?
Honestly, like probably Monday of last week.
Yo, wait, was that when you told America that you had sex in college, or when was that? Well, was that day?
It was combination because it was one of those things. I got a new car that I really liked, so I was feeling good about myself. Then we did this. Then we did the sex thing, and so now I'm just walking around like, oh wow,
you gotta be specific. Guy who has sex. You gotta be specific. You cannot say to Pablo, then we did the sex thing, and think that people understand what you're talking about.
Oh yes, I can say we had a discussion last week because Isaiah McKenzie, Bills wide receiver, tried to claim that he decommitted from Notre Dame because a coach told him that you were not allowed to have sex on Notre Dame's campus. I had to disprove that theory with tales of my own, sexual escapades.
Tales of doing the sex thing specifically.
Yes.
I mean, you sort of advertised it accurately. Yeah, I agree. It remains nice.
You promised on Twitter that you were not going to talk about having sex today. Just so you know. You promised. Hold on. How many seconds are we into the show right now? In what, 12? Like, you're talking about
Mike Golic Jr. sleeps upon a gender-segregated bed of lies. Yeah.
Good Catholic boy. How do BYU get people to commit? I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like we have a show.
Oh wait.
No, we're not doing that show.
No,
we are
absolutely not.
Save
Please.
us, Alabaster.
Save us. We have breaking news. Thank God. Oh my God.
That is a disturbing sound, and I do not like it.
We begin today with breaking news.
We have to do it twice?
As reported by The Athletic, what does it tell you that Ben Simmons might return to the 76ers?
So I want to be very positive about this. I saw this seconds ago, and my brain already began to do that Fantasia scene where all of the animals are dancing and they're wearing tutus and everybody seems like they're psychedelically like, it's great. I want to think this is great. I want to think that finally cooler heads have prevailed. But because I am a journalist, I will tell you what I really think, which is that I think they're lying to us. And I think they finally realize that the only move they have left is lying to us, which is to say that I feel sad. I feel very, very sad.
What was the move before? Weren't they always lying to us? Like, this is not.
No. Domonique, here's the thing with that. Look, this is what's happened for people who aren't familiar with what just happened on Twitter. So Adrian Wojnarowski came out and reported that, yes, Rich Paul, the agent for Ben Simmons, and Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations of my Philadelphia 76ers, they are moving in the same direction towards getting Ben back in Philly. You will note that this is the exact opposite of what has been signaled from Rich Paul's camp until today. And the question is, why are they agreeing to say this via some sort of public proclamation now? And my sense is that actually Daryl Morey waited them out. Daryl Morey, a guy who has always been the vulture preying on broken relationships in the NBA, has actually said, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen to me. And so you guys are going to have to play nice, or as I suspect, fake play nice in order for a deal to get done if you actually want to leave, which is, by the way, what I've been saying for months, which is why I am sad that it took till October 11th for this to happen.
I will say this as we talk about toxic relationships. I hope that is the case for you guys, because my friend Devin Caney, who does post-game for the Philadelphia Eagles and reports around Philadelphia, said and tweeted, if Ben Simmons ends up coming back and fully leans into improving his shot and apologizes to his teammates, I'd allow it. Philly, you need to be better than this. This is toxic. He is not good for you. You guys need to go and move on finally. You know exactly what this is. It's not going to get better. So, Pablo, again, I hope for the health of Philadelphia's sake that you are right, that this is all an elaborate ploy.
They got a picture. They got a picture of the moment. That was the moment. Since we're treating this as a relationship analogy, that was the moment when Ben got caught cheating, and they don't want him back because of it. Weren't they just chanting like "F you, Ben Simmons" at
a wrestling event?
Yeah.
At a totally unrelated wrestling event in Philadelphia. Yes.
Did you see that guy? There was like a guy on the news who was taking shots at Ben Simmons.
Oh, the Gator guy.
Yeah,
the guy who trapped the alligator in the garbage can.
He's not even connected to Philly, right?
He said, I took my shot unlike Ben Simmons. And I was just like, if there is any metaphor that is more perfect than a bully, cramming an innocent creature into a garbage can, it is the discourse around Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is the misunderstood creature.
Is that the worst stray that a Philadelphia athlete's caught since that dude randomly took out Nelson Aguilar?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Aguilar one was hilarious though. And it was more appropriate, I feel like, because the guy who was trying to catch a gator was like, he wasn't actually shooting anything. He didn't take a shot. The Aguilar guy was actually catching things. So it made sense. And since we're editing, like I see we're editing these little cards, put it back. I would like to change it from can't to won't. Like, we got to be more accurate. Yeah. He is capable of shooting, but he will not shoot, which I think actually kind of makes it worse. Like, if you can't shoot, then not shooting is the thing to do. Like, he is capable. He just chooses not to, which is what I think that's what frustrates people. You know, like a flawed player, fans normally kind of get around a flawed player. They're like, but that's our flawed player. You think about quarterbacks in the NFL. When your quarterback is mediocre, you got a mid quarterback, somehow you talk to their fans and they think he's great. But your guy is
top 30 player in the NBA, mid. How dare you? Top 30 player in the NBA is what NBA rank has put him, which is not a thing that I made up, just for the record here. I will point this out too, Domonique. I own that. I'll own Process P. I'll be Process P here. I want to Process P all over your arguments, because what you're saying is that
I didn't make an argument.
No. You have said that there is logic. There is this implication of logic as to why Sixers fans are so angry at Ben Simmons. It's not logical. You know what it is? As per Alligator Guy's example, it's a lot of people realizing that the easiest joke to me is a joke about Ben Simmons. And so if you want to get those likes up, Domonique, you make those jokes. I also hate it.
I hate this because I'm on Ben Simmons' side throughout all of this. And that kind of puts me on your side, which is absolutely unacceptable. That's the most uncomfortable thing. It's like, I don't want to be on your side, but I do want to be on Ben Simmons' side.
What is Ben Simmons' side here, though?
I don't know. It's just like, I don't like fans chanting F you and like kind of acting like he's like a guy that doesn't deserve to play in their city. Like, you don't even own the team.
No,
so like, that rubbed me the wrong way, honestly.
I will say this. Philadelphia fans supported Ben Simmons far longer than the rest of us did. Like, Philadelphia fans used to fight me when I told them before last season, if you had the chance to trade him 1-for-1 for James Harden, you should do it. Philly fans came to his defense, so I'm not going to totally slander them. They gave up at the moment that was on the card. Put the card back up there. That was the moment Philadelphia fans went wholesale on him, because the only thing they asked, to Domonique's point, is not that you are otherworldly in ability. It's that you seem to give a damn even close to as much as they do. And that moment's the thing that they can't tolerate. So I'll stick up for Philly fans here just for a second.
But there are ways, and this gets back to the lying aspect of this, right? Because there are ways to pretend that you care as much as the fans do to satiate them, and he just doesn't do it. On that, he refuses to play along, right? Joel Embiid, who should, and I believe will be in the light of day at some point, be criticized for how he played in Game 7, terrible turnovers, slowing down, all of that. He just says things that makes Philly fans think, he's one of us. He's savvy on social media.
What if he refused to set screens? Like, he would go through entire games, and then afterwards, it's like, well, I mean, I just don't set screens. It's not what I do. Like, would the reaction be different? Because I feel like the refusing to shoot is the tough part for me to defend, because I'm predisposed to defend the player against all things. But it's hard for me to defend, especially that picture, and that he chooses not to shoot. The most fun part about the game, like the only reason why I set screens and the only reason why I pass the ball and rebound is because it would be awkward if I only shot.
But Mike, here's the thing, and this is my argument on behalf of Ben when it comes to shooting, right? Ben Simmons is 7 feet tall. There was once a time, and I believe Domonique and his dad can remember this time, a time of band collars and power forwards and centers who didn't shoot threes.
Right.
They didn't have to do it because when you were a giant dude, actually having any skills like, creating most 3-pointers in the NBA or being faster than anybody like who is 6'2" and up basically, or I don't know, being a runner-up or the straight up defensive player of the year, that guy is something. But now, because he doesn't shoot, because, I don't know, Nikola Jokic does and Embiid wants to, he's trash.
This conversation. It's absurd. It's absurd. The fans are ridiculous. He's ridiculous. They deserve each other. I hope he decides to stay there and continue to not shoot. And then I hope they win a championship, and I want to see how the fans – that's what I want to happen. I want him to hit a game-winning 3 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Not in a Philly jersey, in a someone else jersey to beat Philly in the finals. That will be tremendous.
I hate to jeopardize my Process P moniker, but I also want that at this point.
So incredible.
I want that so badly. I'm just motivated by spite at this point. Trade him, don't trade him. I just want the people who boomed to feel stupid.
Go, Joe. You got anything else on this? Because I'm exhausted by the Ben Simmons topic. We had a whole weekend of NFL football. Let's talk about that.
Fine.
Good job.
All right. It's time for the big story. And our big story comes out of Sunday Night Football last night. The Bills crushed the Chiefs 38-20. What do you view as the big story leaving that game?
Josh Allen.
Football guys.
Josh Allen to me is the big story. I think you can make something out of the Chiefs defense being still very bad, but they've also gone up against some really great offenses. Josh Allen was not a person I was high on going into the draft. And then he had 2 pretty below average seasons, and then he was incredible. So I think this year was kind of the year to find out, is Josh Allen that dude, or did he just have a hot streak? And the answer is Josh Allen is that dude. There's nothing he can't do on the field. He does all the things. He's capable of all the things Patrick Mahomes is, but he's in a frame and with speed that is better than Patrick Mahomes. I think the problem with Josh Allen, which is ridiculous to say because there are no problems with him right now, but the reason why I think Patrick Mahomes is still better is though Mahomes has had some turnovers this year, that's never been his problem. And so Josh Allen is the story of last night because through the delay, the weather delay, being on the road, playing against a great team, Josh Allen showed up and he was running. They were running Lamar Jackson plays because they
led them in rushing, Domonique. Led them in rushing last night.
He was outstanding. So I think it's impossible to come out of that game talking about anything before you talk about the fact that Josh Allen, he's that dude.
Yeah, Josh Allen is 100% the story because going into last night, the Bills had beat up on bad teams. Now, they had beat the hell out of them in the first 4 games of the season, but it had been bad teams. When the Washington football team is the best offense you faced in here, I don't exactly consider you stress test, but that is the big story. I'm with you on that one, Domonique. The thing that I came away, and this had been the last couple of games, something looks physically off with Patrick Mahomes. I know their offense has still been one of the best, if not the best in the league. I think DVOA had them last week at number 1 in offense. They had still been a juggernaut, but a lot of those plays that Pat had made in the past were balls that were fluttering last night, even before the weather took hold, even before the rain delay and all these things started to creep in. So it's not a sound the alarms thing yet, because again, it's only affected them so much on that side of the ball. The other glaring difference between these two franchises that I thought was on display was the defense for Kansas City remains putrid, and the way that they have drafted along that front 4 in Buffalo between A.J. Epinesa last year out of Iowa and then Boogie Basham and Greg Rousseau both having big games last night, that was a big area they needed to step up last year, and that's a big area they've added in this offseason.
Boogie Basham. That's just lean in on Boogie Basham for a second.
Boogie Basham, a real person's name. Amazing. I wanna make this a little bit about me because of course
surprise.
So my
bleeping prize.
My big story here, my takeaway from the big story is that I'm probably gonna watch the Chiefs a lot less going forward. I feel like Patrick Mahomes has been sold to me as the great magician. But now he's that magician who is doing the magic trick and he opens the box and the rabbit's dead. When I thought this was supposed to disappear, right? He almost loses to the Browns. He loses to the Ravens. He loses to the Chargers. He now loses to the Bills. And none of this is really all that suspenseful at this point, right? He's just a bad magician.
I just want to teach you something, Gojo. I don't know if you know this about Pablo. Pablo is the king of the jump pass. So Pablo starts almost all of his sentences not knowing how he's going to finish them. And that is the most exciting thing about me hanging out with Pablo and listening to Pablo, because there will be times when he starts off, and he does it with metaphors too, like things that you should completely think out before you present them. And he jumps up, he's like, hey, he's like a magician. Pablo had no clue where he was going to end up on that one.
So you're saying me and Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
This time, I'm going to say that he completed his jump pass. He just jumped up, and he was like, I might shoot, I might pass. Then he said he pulls out a dead bunny, and I was like, it's a good metaphor. Yeah. I like it. Good job, jump pass.
But maybe it's the magician's assistant's fault, right? Maybe the magician's assistants, the defense, like they're not helping him out.
He loves these metaphors. He will not let go of a good metaphor. He won't do it.
You're gonna beat this magician like the metaphor
for the rest of the show. How many more minutes do we have? Like 30? I promise you, Pablo is gonna beat this metaphor to death. We're gonna talk about magicians. David Blaine's coming up. We're gonna have some Copperfield.
It's like when you have a knife thrower who just throws knives into the person's body. It's just like, wait a minute, I thought you were supposed to be good at this, but you're not. You're just losing games now.
It's hard to throw. It's hard to accurately throw knives when the receivers are tipping them up in the air. Like Patrick Mahomes is high on turnovers this year, but it's also like receivers not being great, and Patrick Mahomes taking risks that normally pay off. We've never seen Patrick Mahomes kind of have this many of his kind of wild plays go bad, which is crazy. Right. What's the follow-up question, Alabaster?
We've talked a lot about the quarterbacks, but do you guys think that the Bills are actually the best team in the NFL this year?
We got the Rams. We got. I wouldn't put the Bucks in that conversation right now.
just for the record, all of us going makes me think that the answer is like probably no. But we all think that we probably should say it, right? Because resume-wise, they're as good as anybody. We'll talk about the Chargers in a bit, I presume. But the Bills are the Chargers in the AFC, and the Bills were in the AFC title game last year. So class of the AFC is what it feels like to me.
The Cards are undefeated, and their quarterback is one of the few quarterbacks that you can say is playing better than Josh Allen right now. And it always kind of comes down to the disproportionate impact of that position in some way. So I think they're the best team in the AFC. Their one loss was to a team that is not very good in the Steelers in week 1 and block punt, blah, blah, blah. You can excuse that one away potentially, but it's hard to say they aren't the class of the AFC given what they've done so far. But they haven't played anybody too. That's the thing. The Chiefs are the one team that they play.
That's why I think I want to go with the Chargers.
Yeah.
I think
how good are the Chiefs? I think is how we answer the question, because the Chiefs aren't as good as we thought they were, but they beat them and they still carry enough cachet. Like when you beat the Chiefs, it's a thing.
That's the bad magician cachet, Gojo. Before Alabaster butted in with his card, you were going to say something. Mike, what did you want to say there?
No, I was just going to go with that, although now I'm so lost in this magician metaphor that I don't know what the rabbit is anymore. Like, is Chris Jones out injured with the rabbit on this one? Is it, speaking of, by the way, pissed off looking magicians here, Tyrann Mathieu 2 times, hands up, looking back at the end of that defense. That is a guy that is reaching his tipping point with Sorensen.
Yeah, Sorensen's he's a tough guy, I believe, to work with in some ways, because I think that they wanted Juan Thornhill to be that other safety, and he tore his ACL. Sorensen was kind of being relegated to special teams mostly, and now Thornhill's come back from the ACL, and somehow they've worked into a situation where they got Thornhill in coverage a lot, and they don't have the D-line to get pressure. That is not the sauce that is going to get you to where you want to go. You got to put him in the box. He's a box safety.
That is true. This is like when we had Jamal Adams getting caught in coverage. You didn't pay him to cover people. You paid him to run at the quarterback here. Yeah,
get Sorensen out of there. You don't need Sorensen back there in cover 2 with the whole field.
You want to put him in a box and then slice that box in half and then reveal that he's actually alive despite being cut in half.
Okay, perfect dismount. Well done.
What's next?
We challenged him. He's going to do it for the rest of the show now.
Next on the table, trending topics. And our first trending topic, do you still expect Alabama to make the college football playoff?
The funny thing about beating Alabama is like you talk about having good losses and or bad losses. A high-ranked team, presumably, is a loss that you can explain away. But when you beat Alabama, you also become a more highly ranked team. So like Alabama is so good that no matter who beats them, we automatically assume, oh, they must be good. So yes, I do expect them. They're going to get, assuming they get in the SEC championship, there is no scenario. A team could have 5 losses. If they win the SEC championship, there's no scenario that they do not get advanced to the playoffs. So yes, I think they find a way into the playoffs.
I agree largely for that same reason, Domonique. And this was also, they dropped down to number 5 now in the latest rankings. I will say this, because a lot of people, and this is going to be like the weird Iowa conversation that we start having soon, where Iowa fans claim that they're largely disrespected by everyone, despite being a team that offensively is not going to be good enough to do that defense justice. If you watch the Penn State game this weekend, that was a game that Sean Clifford's Penn State likely wins, but Iowa's defense, give them credit. You knock the quarterback out in the second quarter, life changes a lot for that team. That being said, Alabama is going to be able to do this. Texas A&M is going to be a loss that I think looks a lot better because the Texas A&M team we saw in that game was the one we were supposed to get this entire year. This was supposed to be a culmination of a bunch of Jimbo's top 5 recruiting classes. This was supposed to be a Mike Elko defense that is going to give you galaxy brain pressures like the ones that rattled Bryce Young that night. And so I think in retrospect, that loss is going to be a little more justifiable because Texas A&M has been doing a bad magic trick of their own for the first half of the season and somehow making all of that talent look like the dead rabbit inside the box.
Pablo, is this what it feels like when you're listening to me give football takes? Because I was like, man, this Gojo, he must really watch college football in a way that I do not.
This guy actually knows what he's talking about, as opposed to pretending. I just said some big
names. I would say Alabama. I would say Jimbo Fisher. Didn't Jimbo Fisher say he was going to beat Nick Saban and we all laughed at him?
Nick Saban gave him the laugh and he said, "Oh yeah, there it is." Wow.
Yes, we're going to beat Nick Saban's ass when he's there in golf. I mean, this is the thing though, right? Wouldn't you think that Jimbo Fisher's group chats after this game are just on fire? And I mean the group chat specifically full of Nick Saban assistants who have collectively gone 0 for forever against Nick Saban. This is not just a win for A&M as much as we can make it about the college football playoff. This is a win for everybody who ever worked for Nick Saban. He is now, 24-1 thanks to Jimbo Fisher.
I'm just thinking about Jimbo Fisher's group chats. Who else do you think are in a group chat?
Well, this was my thought is because you guys know one of the worst feelings in the world is when the group chat goes quiet because everyone else is side chatting about you. And so I'd imagine there's this Nick Saban group chat of him and Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin all these former assistants that has now gone silent because Nick knows they're all on the other side chat man, Jimbo, we appreciate you doing us this solid, dog. We needed this one. We're sick and tired of getting together every summer and listening to this dude talk his talk.
I don't think that Nick is in the group chat. I think it's just an assistant's group chat. And I think Jimbo has his chest out in the group chat, but he's getting no responses. And then they're all in the side chat. Lane's like, man, we softened them up. We softened them up. We made it easy for you. That's what's happening.
No. It's that group chat, but then Lane Kiffin adds Nick Saban, and Lane Kiffin just throws in 50 eggplant emojis.
So Lane Kiffin is the Kanye of this situation. That's what's happening.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's not reckless. That is informed analysis.
By the way, does that make Pablo Torre then the Lane Kiffin of this chat? Because in our pre-show group chat, he was lighting us up with eggplant emojis. So thus completing the prophecy here. You were the Lane Kiffin of debatable.
Guys, I have stories about college if you want to ask me about that. Let's just say.
But so Cincinnati's not going to sneak in? Give me some good analysis because I hear people talking about Cincinnati. My assumption is they're not
You'd
good
rather
enough.
talk about Cincinnati than my college sex life. I understand.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like it's going to involve magicians.
They're similar. I feel like it's the same conversation.
Wow. A lot of chili involved. Next topic.
Oh, God. All right. Our next trending topic. After yesterday, how far do you think Justin Herbert can take the Chargers?
Far. I mean, I think that the important thing to understand about the Chargers is that we love the Herbert situation, but they're a really well-rounded team when healthy. And they have real deal playmakers on defense, and Derwin James and Bosa, and then they got Asante Samuel Jr., who's a rookie, but he seems to be coming into his own as a cornerback. Like, I think that is what's more impressive than just the way that Herbert's playing. Obviously, he's out of this world, but you add to it that Rashawn Slater, rookie offensive lineman who's outstanding, and great Pro Bowl level talent at receiver. Like, it's when you look at this team, this is not a team that should be hiring a first-year head coach based on the talent that they have. Like, he came into a great situation, Brandon Staley, and he's doing a good job with it.
Wait, hold on. You guys are crediting cornerbacks, and you mentioned an O-lineman, and Gojo got all happy in his box. Like, no, Justin Herbert. The story, I mean, how can we just give that guy the evaluation that he is due, the evaluation that none of us gave him before the draft? Because we're living in a world where Mike Tannenbaum is rightfully taking victory laps on a white horse, declaring that he is the guy who saw this, and I don't have anything to say to him. Like, yes, what a terrible day for people who like to say, "I told you so."
If you want something to say to Tannenbaum, you can bring up his actual track record when he was making these decisions. Like, if you want to deflate Tannenbaum, you can do that. But yes, I'm proud of him for this Herbert take, because man, he is dining on that puppy. He deserves it. He's gonna eat on this Herbert take for years. Yes. He might get a job off the strip of this Herbert take.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, forget the Jets. No, Justin Herbert saying that he was good is actually more valuable than years running a pro team.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the Stugatz is strong in him. Take that one, amplify it when you're right, shudder it away when you're wrong. Do what all the rest of us do. He was just more right about this one than anyone could have possibly imagined here. I will say, though, speaking of Brandon Staley, a large part of the reason he was brought over is because Anthony Lynn, while a great person and a great coach in a lot of ways, made a lot of very suspect decisions in key moments last year. And credit to Brandon Staley, when it's come to the coaching decisions in a lot of key junctures this season, he has been willing to go for it on 4th and short from his own 24, to go for 2 in certain spots, even when it didn't fully make sense to us here, to have the wherewithal at the end of game to try and make sure everyone stays in bounds before the Browns somehow one-up them with Kevin Stefanski's crew pulling dudes into the end zone. Like, that was the good decision-making in football Olympics on display from two teams that we would not have said that about ever before in the last decade of these teams.
So the point of those good decisions is that over the course of time, it's going to average out to be in your favor more often than not. So my question for you is, would us media and fans have the same respect for Brandon Staley if those decisions had cost him games? Like, he's converting them right now, so we're happy about him. So let's say that they are 0-4 right now, but he's making all the right decisions. Are we still like, man, this is a coach for the job?
Well, that's I mean, the 7 of 8 on 4th down conversions, the fact that they are so good on 3rd down also, like, I want to credit situational brilliance. I want to credit Justin Herbert for being so good on 3rd down, but you're right. There will be a reckoning, and who's going to be waiting? All of the people who like to call me a nerd. That's who's waiting for all of this to regress.
I want to quote Lane Kiffin quoting Mother Teresa.
There it is.
This is a real tweet, by the way, that Lane Kiffin sent today. If you do something out of duty, it will deplete you. But if you do something out of love, it will energize you. A quote from Mother Teresa, to which Lane Kiffin commented, "We go for it on 4th down because we love and believe in our players here at Ole Miss. Start of an amazing week here." That is what it is about. Because yes, the fans will not appreciate what is happening there if there aren't results tied to it. But Domonique, our job is to see through that and say, irregardless of the results, regardless of the results, it is today, we're supposed to evaluate decision-making. It's like the draft. And so if his decision-making is sound, we should support that even if the results aren't there in a way that you're right. They won't always be.
We won't. I really want to know who Lane Kiffin was motivating in that. Like, maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's like some high school kid like, man, I want to play for the guy who quotes Mother Teresa when talking about football. Like, what is the Venn diagram of individuals that overlap that like are jazzed about that particular tweet? Because it didn't hit me except to make me laugh.
I'll tell you what this is. Lane Kiffin bought the same box of cards with nice sayings on them from the same website online that I did right now. And much like me, he's trying to justify that purpose by sending it out to somebody here. And that somebody happened to be Ole Miss fans.
I just hit me. Lane Kiffin is angling for the Notre Dame job. That's it.
Don't do this. It's Tennessee week. He's in full troll mode right now.
I like how Mike. Wait, Mike, you just bought a box full of cards with sayings on them. What was the end game there?
I don't know. I'll go grab it.
It's an inspiration. I've been there. It's an impulsive purchase. I never bought that. My impulse purchase is like a candy bar or something.
Well, you also did buy a book of questions recently. Now that I think about it, so you guys are all about.
To be fair,
it looks nice. They come and they're like on these like old cardboard sheets.
Read us a card, Mike. Read us an inspirational card and make it about football process.
Oh, all right. Ooh. All right, here we go. Travel isn't always pretty. It isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it hurts. It even breaks your heart, but that's okay. The journey changes you. It should change you. It leaves marks on your memory, on your consciousness, on your heart, and on your body. You take something with it. You hopefully leave something good behind. That is Anthony Bourdain talking about the 2021 Kansas City Chiefs, my friends, because the process isn't always easy. And sometimes, yes, you will be a faulty magician with a dead rabbit in October. But we're not playing for October. We're not trying to be the best team before Halloween. We are about the journey to December and January football, and that is the road that the Chiefs are on, my friends.
I'm ready to run through a wall for you, Mike Golic Jr.
Wow.
The cards don't lie, fellas. The cards don't lie.
Next topic.
Right. We're empty.
All right. Our final trending topic. The Cardinals beat the 49ers 17-10 to stay undefeated. Should we praise the Cards' defense, or did Trey Lance just not seem ready?
I recently asked Domonique on this program a question that I regretted because it sounded so sports talk cliche-y, and that question was, is the Cardinals defense for real? And here I am, 1 week later, legitimately being like, are the Cardinals defense, are they for real?
I think the answer was yes, and it is yes. I think we can't walk into this game with so much love and respect for Kyle Shanahan's scheming and the potentials of this offense, and then when the Cardinals make them look pedestrian, come out and say, oh, well, they weren't ready. When we see Trey Lance, we've seen him earlier in this season and in the preseason, he seemed explosive, inconsistent, but explosive. And if this was just one game, I might be a little hesitant, but this isn't the only offense that the Cardinals have kind of slowed to the point where they've given their offense the ability to score enough points to win. So, I think they play really well against the Rams offense, which we all respect that. The Tennessee offense, we don't respect nearly as much, but they're still a good offense, and they destroyed them. So, I think to answer your cliche question, the Cards D is for real.
Yes.
They are absolutely for real. They're like the island of misfit toys, and every misfit toy was an elite otherworldly athlete, right? Because the pieces don't all necessarily fit together. Like Isaiah Simmons isn't a box linebacker. Zaven Collins grew into a grizzly bear at rapid pace and is still kind of like figuring out where he fits in it. We still aren't ready to have the Chandler Jones conversation with our kids about what a mutant that guy is. So you just put them all together, and Vance Joseph has that thing balling. So yeah, they're for real. That was a great win. And like division opponent. They're always weird games.
Wait, is the Chandler Jones conversation like, look, there was a time when he showed up shirtless outside a building, and it was very confusing, and there were police officers inside that building, but now he's just incredible. Let's watch some Cards football. Is that the talk? Is that what we're talking about?
No. The Chandler Jones conversation is, that man's incredible. The end, especially with your kids. I'm just talking about jumping out of windows and making all those other decisions. I'm not opening that can. I'm prepared to have any conversation I need to with my kids, but that doesn't mean that I need to start them myself.
Can I ask a follow-up question about how we explain why actually, like, the whole Jimmy G versus Trey Lance question is a thing that I thought had been answered before, but now seems to be like an actual quarterback controversy, because I thought the whole point of like having both of these guys for Kyle Shanahan was, I'm going to use both, right? Like that could be the sort of party line going forward, because Trey struggled, but was very promising, leading, had more rushing yards than any quarterback since Colin Kaepernick, I believe. But now we're seeming to have to pick one or the other. And I just don't know why we're not talking about them in that same, like, let's use them both conversation that we were doing as of like week 1.
I mean, whatever polyamorous vision you have going forward, at some point, you got to commit, man. Like, this is the NFL. It's the conservative place. You're not going to get away with having
4
two quarterbacks
weeks, that's all
for very
we got.
long.
We got
like,
4
maybe
weeks
if
of
we're
that
talking,
experiment.
maybe in the NBA, you can pull some stuff like that. But there's a more progressive league. In the NFL, you pick your quarterback, you love your quarterback, and that's your quarterback. And yes, Trey Lance is handsomer, and he is the guy I think that wins in this triangle of love with Kyle Shanahan. Look at that, beautiful.
By the way, the other interesting part of this, in addition to probably underrated handsome. You're right. I don't think for a while like we really like. This is
Domonique's Tannenbaum on Justin Herbert moment.
Yep.
Just saying, you will one day recognize. Yeah.
I called this a while ago when everyone was like, well, but he's so handsome. That other dude, whatever his name is, Jimmy G, so handsome. And I was like, you know what? The other guy coming in, handsomer. Like the hair, I mean, he's got it for me. If I had to choose a quarterback, that's my quarterback.
It is interesting, too, the football side of this, that if, like, however this goes, this year is going to be fine. Next year, if it's weird and inconsistent like this, we're finally going to turn on Shanahan. Like, we're finally going to get to that point.
Never turn it on Kyle.
Never, Domonique. Why is he immune? Why does he get that treatment?
Because his team gets hurt a lot, frankly. That the bar is so low. He does incredible things with a roster that is always incredibly depleted. So we're always in love with the potential of someone, especially when they do interesting things. So he does interesting things with his running attack, and everyone who's like really smart football people are like, wow, that's impressive. And then he got to a Super Bowl, but he never wins the Super Bowl, and we can explain it away because everybody got hurt.
Well, doesn't it feel like Trey Lance is about to get hurt, though? Like, watching him in this game and listening to the quotes after the game. I mean, I'm not trying to – I don't want to be the guy who's wishing anything upon anybody. I'm just saying the guy does not slide. At that goal line, he is bullying in and he is getting rocked. It just feels like he is playing like a guy who's trying to prove himself as opposed to a guy who's trying to protect his future, which maybe is a thing that no football player can relate to, but I certainly do.
I mean, you kind of have to prove yourself in order to have a future. I think is kind of the process, you know, like you don't get to have a long future if you don't prove yourself. So you got to do A before you can do C. Pablo, I don't know. I feel like there's a magic analogy in there for me somewhere, but I'm not nearly as good at the jump pass as you are.
Can we do D before Pablo injures somebody else in this segment?
Yeah,
here? Is there another question we can answer?
I'm so sorry.
Please
I'm so
do.
Sorry.
You got this man cutting people in half before he's mastered a card trick. There you go.
All right, guys. It's time to play a game.
What have we been doing this whole time?
Yeah.
Good point. Our first game, what are the chances?
Okay.
And our first, what are the chances? What are the chances Spencer Rattler is done as the starter for Oklahoma?
So if you missed what happened to the University of Texas on Saturday, this is what happened to the University of Texas on Saturday. 48-48.
Identical play that they scored on earlier, right? I know Gojo knows.
Yeah,
me and Pablo were talking about this before the show. I'm sorry.
I was about to pass that stuff off as my own knowledge, but no, Gojo just fed it to me. The point is, Spencer Rattler, I mean, look, I'm going to say he is 99% done. Given that, I didn't, look, did everybody know that this Caleb dude was good? Is that a thing people do? Because I was not aware that they had a quarterback who was better than the quarterback who's supposed to be the best quarterback in the country. That was a thing that was very surprising to me, Caleb Williams existing and doing this in general. So I'm going to go 99%.
I'll give a quick 75 to leave space for the unforeseen and then get out of the way for Gojo because he knows college football in a way that I don't. Then I'm going to follow up after him and say all the things that he said in a different way. Go for it, Mike.
God, this is so me talking about Major League Baseball on radio anytime it comes up. Can we just wait for Buster Olney to say or write something and then just kind of tweak it a little bit and make it into my own opinion here? Pablo, to answer your question, yes, people knew Caleb Williams is a thing, so much so that Oklahoma fans for the last few weeks have been chanting his name from the crowd, wanting to oust Spencer Rattler during these games that have been far too close for Oklahoma fans' taste. I would go 50-50 on this. I'm truly not sure where it is. He's a little better of a natural runner than Spencer Rattler, which they need, because really the big story about this Oklahoma team is they can't block people like they're used to. And so they need a quarterback who's going to bail them out of a little more stuff here. So I would say there's probably a 50-50 shot here. I would say, based on what you saw in that game, it's going to be hard to go away from Caleb Williams, especially as that noise mounts from the outside.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that they're going to be facing some tough pass rushes, even though the defenses in their conference aren't very good. But having the escapability, that extra factor that my man Caleb has, is a little bit more beneficial than what Spencer Rattler has. So Spencer Rattler is a high-profile guy. He's very talented, obviously, so I have to give him a chance to work his way back in. You also give the room for your favorite thing, Pablo, injuries. That could be a reason why he gets back in there. But I think that you have to lean more towards I wouldn't go quite 50-50, which is why I went 75-50 or 75-25, because 75-50 is a percentage that doesn't exist because of the athleticism and the other guy factor. Like, he's going to have more.
Tell me more about what the other guy factor is.
He's going to have more leeway because they're already out on Spencer. I don't know if you know this or not, but at one point throughout the early part of the season, the fans were chanting for Caleb. Spencer was underachieving. The West Virginia game wasn't pretty. They got to win, not pretty. They had some tough times in the season, and the fans are in on him. They're bought in on him. He's okay for so many mistakes up until they get towards the end of the season. If he just like completely nosedives, they'll go back to Rattler. But because of his athleticism and the fact that he's already the other guy, they already love him. I think we're going 75-25.
Yeah, I got to say, it's shocking to find out that someone named Spencer Rattler isn't actually that good at football. His name is Spencer Rattler. I mean, come on.
Like that makes him like a nature TV show host, not a great quarterback.
Like a guy who might one day like be attacked by an alligator and then blame that alligator on Ben Simmons. Why is Spencer Rattler not actually that good, by the way, as I say that so declaratively as if I've watched a lot of his games? What's happening here? If he's the preseason Heisman favorite, Gojo, what is wrong right now with him?
I think he still has been good in a lot of instances here. Defenses in the Big 12 have kind of changed. There's been that adjustment. Like we've seen, like going back to another Heisman favorite, which Spencer Rattler also was, Jalen Hurts, the back half of his year at Oklahoma, was not really leading as explosive a passing offense as we have been used to around there, because defenses in the Big 12 have decided we're done with this big play stuff. We're going to make you beat us underneath. And so that's been kind of an exercise in frustration for this year's Oklahoma team. Listen, Spencer's put the ball in harm's way some, but I really don't think he's been the problem largely in a lot of these close games.
And I think the comparisons are tough for a player like that in that situation. They have like a long lineage of Heisman Trophy winners and NFL starting quarterbacks. So I think that's part of the problem also. You got coming with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, and the defenses that he's facing are different than the defenses that they were facing. Yeah, he's got something. Give it to us, Alec.
All right, Alabaster, what you got?
I was going to say, he was compared for his arm to Patrick Mahomes. It went beyond Kyler Murray. It went beyond Baker Mayfield.
He's got a freaky arm. Like, if you want, like, he still makes some of those throws that a handful of people on earth can make. The weird part is and this is the Oklahoma factor, they just happen to have another one of those guys waiting in the wings who can also make freaky throws. Like, this is an embarrassment of riches, and this is what happens when you continue to stockpile the kind of talent that they do. People get restless. These fans know what's waiting in the pipeline, and they're done and tired of waiting.
I look forward to stealing all of these points later on Around the Horn this week. Next topic.
All right, our next What Are the Chances? What are the chances Trevor Lawrence is comfortable running a QB sneak?
So I was watching football yesterday, and I was like, man, I can't believe it's like the Urban Meyer story. It's already gone. Like, we've forgotten about this, even though they lost to the Titans. It's over. And then we got press conferences.
The quarterback sneak, he's not quite comfortable with that yet. We've been practicing that. I know that might sound silly, but when you've never done it, it's something that we need to continue to make that so you can make that call in that critical situation.
Which would be a fine thing to say if this wasn't said right after it.
No, I feel comfortable. I mean, yeah, obviously I haven't really ran it before in a game, but no, I feel comfortable. It's something we've worked. So QB sneak is always something that we can get to, and I feel comfortable with.
So Pablo, you gonna give us a percentage?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 100% because I believe that Trevor Lawrence is not a liar. Give me the hundo on that.
I was so anticipating you making QB sneak jokes about Urban Meyer in his own bar because he was clearly under center there, and maybe if he was
he's clearly
more time,
going over various lines, yes, breaking the plane in all sorts of ways. Yeah.
So I was anticipating that, but yeah, I'm going to 100% also because
Allegedly.
one of these people has not proven themselves to be egregiously dishonest or habitually dishonest, perpetually dishonest. Yeah, there's one person there. It's the one who looks like the Jesus that was in the churches that Mike Golic went to when he was not having sex at Notre Dame. He doesn't look like the Jesus that was in the churches that I went to. I would be gotta be honest.
Touchdown Jesus has incredible flow. I can say that as a Roman Catholic.
He does. I don't know what else about Jesus Domonique's referring to in there, the difference between my church and his church, but this is also in the magic trick.
Jesus got more curls. He's a few more curls. Yeah, go ahead.
better tan, all the above.
Yes.
But I will say this, magic trick reveal here. I could not hear any of that audio. The way it's worked out with me. And so all I got to do was read body language in this. And in reading the body language in this, Domonique, you're right. Even if I didn't know all the other stuff, one guy very much looks like he is comfortably projecting his truth, while the other guy is staring down, very bird-like, very uncomfortable with the setting there. And so reading that right there, I would be inclined to say, yes, Trevor Lawrence looks 100% comfortable running a QB sneak because he was the only one that looked 100% comfortable in that setting.
That's impressive.
Every show should have a person who cannot hear the audio and just has to judge things based on body language. And I say that because we kind of do that anyway, and we can still hear the audio.
I didn't. Maybe I was unconsciously picking up all of those things, but I didn't pick up those things. But when you said it, I was like, yeah, Trevor was looking
totally
straight
right.
ahead, swaggering chest,
Yeah,
and Herbert was like,
out.
It's just very, very mouse-like in his response.
He does. Can
we watch the Herbert video again? Do we have the capability to run that again? I'd like to see it.
Do we have the capability to allegedly watch what Urban Meyer has allegedly done? Alabaster, do we have a ruling?
The quarterback sneak, he's not quite comfortable with that yet. We've been practicing that.
Who are you looking at?
I know that might
Not a lot of eye
sound silly,
contact,
but
yeah.
We've never done it. It's something that
Oh, that bounced
we
to
need
one
continue
side.
to make that.
That's the left
so we can
side. That's
make
the
that
lie
call in a
side.
critical situation.
Yep, eyebrows fluttering. I was hoping we were going to play the other video from where he does QB sneak. We had the all-22
Allegedly.
I thought. Allegedly, but I guess
Allegedly.
not.
I think it was the high end zone.
It wasn't sneaky though. It wasn't sneaky at all. It was a quarterback power for sure. He was like, "We're running it with the QB, and we're running it with the QB."
Yeah, I will say it is a thing that was play action in a different sense. Hey, next topic.
Man.
It's time for another game. And this game is Who Done It. We give you a quote. You have a minute to come together and tell us who done it. The
So
first
spooky.
quote through Sniffles. When you see your players give all that they have and lose in that way, it's tough. You don't want that for them, but we'll be better for it. And your choices are A, Urban Meyer, B, David Culley, C, Dan Campbell, or D, Brian Flores.
Yeah, I know the answer to this. I mean,
Yeah,
do we all know the answer? I don't want to ruin the ride for you
It'd be funny
guys.
if it was David Culley, though, but it's not. It's
Why
not.
would it be
It's
funny if it was
obviously-
David Culley?
Well,
I think
because
it'd be,
David. Go ahead. Go ahead. Devin.
Brian Flores would make me laugh. Urban Meyer would not make me laugh, but Brian Flores, like, he comes off very, very tough and like old school football-y. But I guess that's also the reason why the person who it was, it kind of made me chuckle. I felt for him, but I also chuckled a little bit because it was Dan the Man Campbell, the one who was sniffly, and I respect it because all their losses this year, I think, were tearjerkers.
Do we have the video, please?
When you when you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough. You know, you don't want that for them. So, but we'll be better for it, you know.
My first question here is whether Mike Golic Jr., you could listen to any of that. Did you hear any of that? Yes or no?
Not a word, but thankfully I had heard it earlier in the day.
Okay, very good. Very good. Because body language-wise, that is the story here, right? I mean, that's entirely a video that I adjudicate based on how he looked, and obviously, like, the fact that, you know, the cap, skin tone was very different because he's wearing the cap and it's burnt and, you know, all that stuff. That aside, the fact is, yes, I love that Dan Campbell realized that, you know, maybe the real flesh that we were supposed to eat was, you know, our friendships. And so there it is.
See, there's the jump pass. That's where the jump pass goes poorly, everyone. Everyone, it's a Pablo experience.
It's a transubstantiation reference. It was a deep cut for my Catholics out there.
You have to understand.
Shout out to my Catholics.
You have to understand it's the Pablo experience. He's gonna jump and not sure where the ball's going. Sometimes it's incredible, and sometimes it's that. Would you?
Can I ask you this, because you guys both played, you know, football in a real way? Would you have liked playing for Dan Campbell?
My answer before this video was no, because like I thought it was all fake, and you know, like I thought it was all fake, and now I believe it's genuine. And I think the guys in the locker room can tell whether it's genuine and fake before he cries in the media. So like I think that you would enjoy playing for somebody who you think cares as much as you and you think is also being genuine and is not. I think I had the misfortune or good fortune to play for a lot of coaches who were very much professional and like they saw it for the business that it was. And that feels not great sometimes, but it also is like it's more honest. So it would have been nice to play for a high school coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of those reasons. The only thing, and I said this as soon as he got hired and we did the press conference that led to Pablo's weird joke about cannibalistic friendships, is
thank you.
I heard his introductory press conference and I'm like, man, they're going to practice in full pads as much as the CBA allows them and then some. Like 9-on-7 is not a fun period. It's where everyone knows you're just running the ball the whole time. It's basically one large car accident drill. And I feel like that guy wakes up and he's like, you know what, guys, today we're going to start practice with this. Yeah. Forget stretching, forget warming up. So that part would sink. Everything else seems like it'd be pretty good. He seems like a good dude.
So Pablo, was it a communion joke that you were making? I'm confused.
Yeah, I mean, you see, like, it's the Holy Communion is not merely a wafer. It is actually the body and blood of our Lord and Savior. And so when I say that the real human flesh we should have been eating was, in fact, the friendships, so too is the story of our Lord and Savior.
So is Dan Campbell a Christ figure?
I don't know. Please, yeah, I'm good on this whole thing. I'm sorry I asked, Alabaster. Give us something new.
Trevor Lawrence can be a Christ figure, but Dan Campbell can't. That seems unfair. Final topic.
All right, we have one more whodunit. And the quote
Dan Campbell seems like the Christ. Dan Campbell seems like the Christ figure for people who listen to a lot of Lee Greenwood.
I don't know who Lee Greenwood is, but that seems funny. I don't know. Who's Lee Greenwood?
He's a country music artist who sings that "Proud to Be in God Bless the USA."
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would have gone with Leonard Skinner. I don't know who he is either, but it also sounds like something that would go along with someone who would be a real Dan Campbell fan. I couldn't name a song.
That's not a person. That's a band.
Oh, it's a bunch of people. Oh, I thought, why they name the man Leonard? I mean, why you gonna give him a name that sounds like a person? I'm not gonna name my group Bobby Jones.
I like how Alabaster was gravely offended that you thought that Leonard Skinner was a person.
It's time to play a new game. It's called Intro to White People.
It's a specific type though. Like I know other things. Like I know Seinfeld. I know that.
I know Seinfeld.
I mean,
Domonique Foxworth.
I'm a man in America. I feel like much of my life has been Intro to White People 101. Like I'll ace that test. I promise you. All right, read it, Alabaster.
Okay, our final quote.
White people.
Our final quote. The turnover stuff is on me, but good thing they don't count. So turn that blank over 15 times and nobody can do nothing about it. And your choices are A, Nathan Peterman, B, Ja Morant, C, LaMelo Ball, or D, Russell Westbrook.
All right, I feel like we can rule Nathan Peterman out right off the top.
I'm so mad that this isn't actually Nathan Peterman. Yeah. The Peterman saying this would have been an all-time development in my life. But yeah, I agree. Not him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going. I'm leaning more Russ. It feels like something a vet would say. It doesn't feel like a young guy. Maybe Melo. Melo's got the confidence to pull off something like this. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Oh, I'm definitely all in on Russ on this one. Vet in the preseason.
Yeah.
Just complete disregard for anything that anyone else would care about. That's the guy.
But have you seen the way LaMelo dresses? LaMelo clearly has the confidence to say whatever the hell he wants, whatever he wants.
Yeah, LaMelo also, though, counterpoint would have thrown in some other weird sound effect that we would have transcribed into the quote, and he didn't do that, so I think it's Russell Westbrook. Yes, that one.
Oh, it's fine. This is not the turnover stuff. It's on me. But good thing they don't count. So, I turned over 15 times. Somebody can do nothing about
it. Yeah, we nailed it. I think one person can do something about it. I don't know if Russ is aware, but there is someone by the name of LeBron James who I think probably is cool with it now, but may not be cool with it come playoff time. He might be cool with it during the regular season.
What a stat, though. 2 preseason games, 4 of 19, 15 turnovers. None of this counts. Go bleep yourself. An amazing summary from Russell Westbrook in the 20,000th year of his life.
Obviously, I'm here for all of the Ben Simmons related drama we're going to get for the first month of the season, but what Domonique just mentioned there is where the real rubber is going to meet the road. I want to see how LeBron feels in January, because usually that's where we pencil in his meltdown every season, where he wants to get rid of some of the guys on the team and overhaul the roster, or complain very cryptically on Twitter about, Kevin Love or something like that. So I want to see how he does this with Russ, because Russ feels like the first LeBron James teammate in a while that's just going to be like, nah, man, you don't play on me like that.
I'm trying to think. You said in a while. I don't know if there was another teammate. I guess D-Wade.
D-Wade, just different relationship, I guess.
Yeah, but he certainly didn't seem happy with D-Wade when his knee was keeping him off the court towards the end of that run. That was a whole nother situation. But we'll see. I am in favor of more preseason sports being treated this way, because this is the time when you can make mistakes. We always look at it like, man, we got to play like it's a regular season. No, when the regular season comes, you can play like it's a regular season. Preseason, let's get a little lackadaisical. Let's throw it around a little bit. Let's test our abilities, see what we got there.
Wait a minute. So did you actually approach the preseason when you were playing in the NFL that way, Domonique? Did you live up to any of the things that you've suggested?
Of course I did not. I also am not a basketball player who's won an MVP. It's a little different. I'm just saying, as a fan, I would enjoy that. If I would approach the preseason like that, then I would have been fired a long time before. Yeah.
When I got fired, right at the end of preseason.
Yes. I'd have been a final cut guy.
Oh, no.
Like my man.
Yeah. You'd have been treating the preseason games like the Super Bowl, like I was here, crying before kickoff, getting ready to go here. My time to shine. Make this team.
Being able to skip the final preseason game, man, what an honor. The few times that I was able to do that in my career, man, it felt like I won Defensive Player of the Year. Deep boy out there. It's like, oh, no, you're down this week. Oh, so you need me healthy week 1? Wow. What respect. Everyone else, they're like, your ass out there. Good luck. If you get hurt, this season's going to be fine.
Oh, I can relate to all of these war stories. I can relate.
Bye-bye.
Wait, is this how it... Oh, yeah, that was the countdown.
Hopefully I don't get cut now.
Where's our three... Do we have a theme song? I thought we had a theme song.
I can ask questions.
Follow us at Debatable. Oh, wait, Domonique has his book of questions.
What would your funeral be like? That's a bad question. I don't like that one.
Jesus, man.
Would you rather die peacefully? Oh, another death question.
What is up with this?
I'm just randomly flipping the pages. Would you want to implant a rice grain-sized computer chip in your fingertip to enable you to throw away your credit card and keys and use a simple hand wave to make a purchase? I feel like we already have that. What year is this
I did that
from?
already. Yeah. I got that. I got the vaccine and I got that in the same show.
way to go jump pass.
They're going to flag this for misinformation now.